All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining our webinar today. I'm Ashley Limbers, the marketing manager here at Encompass Solutions, and I'm happy to be your moderator for today's session. For those of you who are new to Encompass Solutions, I'll give you a quick introduction. We are a North Carolina-based ERP consulting and implementation firm with over 25 years in business and a global team of just over 40 staff members. We focus exclusively on serving the manufacturing and distribution industries, delivering solutions that help organizations streamline their operations, overcome challenges, and drive growth. And today we are discussing EDI Simplified, stopping manual entry for good, with our EDI guru, Tanya Sweet. Before we dive in, just a few housekeeping notes. This webinar is being recorded, and we'll send a copy to all registrants afterwards. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the Q&A box on your Zoom control panel, and we'll answer as many as we can during the live Q&A at the end. And lastly, we'd appreciate it if you could take a minute to fill out the quick survey after today's session. It helps us keep improving these events for you. So now let's turn the time over to our presenter, Tanya Sweet. Tanya is a true titan in the world of EDI, with an impressive 32 years of experience under her belt. Tanya's journey began in this field in 2007 when she made a transition from healthcare to manufacturing, pioneering the implementation of EDI with Epicor for the very first time. And since then, she's been very instrumental in the countless projects spanning various industries, showcasing her versatility and depth of knowledge. And in 2018, Tanya played a pivotal role in the launch of Encompass Solutions Entrust EDI product. And last year, we launched Entrust Plus, and we're excited to have her here with us today. So without further ado, Tanya, I'm going to turn things over to you. Tanya, I don't think we can hear you.
Yeah, that mute button's pretty important. Sorry.
Yes, perfect. I can hear you.
Good morning. I'm Tanya. I've been doing EDI most of my adult life, starting out in healthcare, like Ashley said, and then moving into manufacturing in the early 2000s. Implemented Epicor at a customer, as a customer, not at a customer, as a customer, and then moved into the consulting realm. But I've been doing EDI for a long time, and I tend to get into the weeds and get into the super details. And when Ashley and I were talking, we realized there's a lot of people who don't even know what EDI is. We really need to start at the beginning. And so that's what this is a very high level, very basic EDI simplified to um, everyday users who maybe aren't using EDI and don't know all the lingo and don't know all the details. So we're going to just go through this agenda. We're going to talk about the reality that manufacturers face, the hidden costs of manual processing, what is EDI, what EDI replaces, some real manufacturing examples, common manufacturing pain points, what EDI is not, and then what modern EDI can actually do for you. So that is our agenda. But we're going to start out with a poll. And Ashley, do you want to pull that up?
Yes. So our poll question today is, how are most of your customer orders received today? Email, PDF attachments, customer portals, EDI, or a mix of everything. So we'll give you a few seconds here to go ahead and take this survey so we can see where everyone is at today on our webinar. All right, lots of answers coming in. We do appreciate you taking that.
Thank you. It looks like a mix of everything is winning,
Mhm.
which is what I expected, right?
Yeah.
I kind of figured everyone was doing a little bit of all the things. But second is PDFs, which is also what I was expecting. There's a lot of PDFs flying around in the world today, and we'll talk about that as we go. Um, so the winner is a mix of everything, just so you all know.
And to point out, Tanya, we have like almost 0% for EDI,
Yeah, that's super
which
interesting too, right?
that's
Most of
why
your
we're all
orders
here.
are not coming in EDI.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's a place that we could find some efficiencies and get some automation in place. So that's good to note. Thank you, Ashley. All right. Oh, should have had that slide up. So, what are what's the reality that manufacturers face? Does this look familiar? We have people sitting at desks. That little picture in the left-hand corner is what's happening in a lot of worlds, right? We have people sitting at desks with piles of paper, or maybe they didn't print out the PDF. They maybe just have it in their email or sitting on their computer, or they have two screens. One has the PDF and they're entering data. But whatever it is, we are typing data into our ERPs, and that is not really efficient. The people have to do that. So far, AI has not replaced that project yet. Um, so we've got orders that are arriving by email, although according to our poll, you all don't have that very often. Um, or PDFs that are retyped into the ERPs. We maybe have a customer portal that we have open on one screen, and we're typing the orders from that screen into our ERP on another screen. We maybe have five portals open and we're just digging through them trying to find what we need for orders. Maybe we're still answering the phone. I don't know if people are getting faxes anymore. That would be an interesting poll question to add sometime. Does anyone have fax machines anymore? Back when I was doing it, we were getting faxes all day long. But all of these things are giving us shipping errors and chargebacks, and our teams are just buried. Um, and if somebody is ill in a day, right, we maybe don't get orders entered that came in that day if someone can't fill in for them. All these things cost more than you might think. It seems like the cost is really just the human sitting there rekeying the orders, but there's other things that are hidden that you don't see and are not as easy to quantify and put into a report and present to your boss and say, this is why we need to do EDI. But rekeying orders often means that you've got data entry errors, probably more often than we want to admit. If you've got a 100-line order, how many times is that 100-line order 100% accurate? Probably less than half, I would guess. And of course, the result from that is customers are not happy. Customers don't like things wrong. They don't want to get the wrong part number. They don't want to be charged the wrong price, and they want to get it on the day that they ordered it or the day that they asked you to ship it, whichever the case may be. So we don't want unhappy customers. That is not our goals. We want happy customers who want to buy more. Um, Portal management, if we've got, even if you just have one portal, but most people don't just have one portal. Most people have multiple portals that they're managing. Um, that is a lot of wasted time. And again, we still can have data entry errors because humans are typing that into your ERP. And we could have late shipments. If someone couldn't log into the portal and they spent a little bit of time fiddling around, we maybe missed a shipment that should have gone out. Manual tracking, I still see people using spreadsheets to track things, y'all. And that is really not the best way to go. You're going to miss deadlines. You're going to get chargebacks. There's a lot of things that are going to happen from manual tracking. And what happens when the one person who manages that spreadsheet isn't available? What do you do? Common pain points. These are kind of the same thing that we just talked about. Order accuracy, shipping coordination or delays. What if one of those PDFs has a next day air shipment in it and it didn't get entered in today? So we can't ship it tomorrow if we didn't ship it today, if we didn't enter it today. Or we can't ship it today if we're that quick in shipping. There was a time in my life when we would get a next day error and the order entry person would type it into the ERP, which was Epicor, print out the pick list and literally walk out to the shipping floor and hand the pick list to a human and say, this is the next day error. Can you imagine how much time wasted that is if we did that even 10 times a day? The warehouse was not close to the order entry. That was not built correctly. There were days when I would actually walk it out there and pick the order and put it on the stand and have someone ship it. Or there were days when I shipped it. It's a crazy world, right? Before EDI was automating all of that. We've got customer scorecards and customer compliance. They pretty much go together. Some customers keep track of how well you're doing, and they will not buy a new product from you if you don't have a good score. And we want to make sure that those scorecards are always at the top of the line if we can. Customer compliance. Customers have rules beyond their scorecards. there was a day when I was shipping to Amazon and I don't know if this is still true, so don't panic if you ship to Amazon. But Amazon wanted to know that the ASN had to be at Amazon within 30 minutes of the truck leaving the dock. And that was hard to manage, right? If we were not on top of everything for that exact order, we couldn't get that ASN out within 30 minutes. Or if when we were hand typing, that was really hard. If it was a large order, that's a lot of typing. And I couldn't get it done in 30 minutes before the truck left the dock or after the truck left the dock. It's slow, right? If I'm literally sitting there typing into a portal, that takes a long time. And then chargebacks. I used to swear that Amazon's revenue had a line on it for chargebacks. Like that was part of their revenue plan was chargebacks because we got so many of them. So, what is EDI? How can this help me with all of these pain points that we've talked about? In its most simplistic form, EDI is computer systems exchanging business documents automatically. So customers are not typing into their ERP, printing out a PDF, emailing it to you. They are typing it into their ERP and check marking done, and everything after that happens automatically. So customers have made their PO. It automatically goes out in the mail, for a lack of a better term. It gets mailed, it gets sent electronically to usually to a van, sometimes directly to you. Depends on how they want to do business, but usually to a van. A van is a lot like the post office, and they gather up all the data from all the customers that have sent it to you, and then they pass it on to you. And it's done in an EDI language. It's not done in a PDF form where you can actually read the PO and see what it is. It's done in an EDI language. There are many EDI languages. The most common in North America is X12. The most common in Europe is EDIFACT. So those are the two big ones that we see, but there's a lot of other ones. And some new ones on the horizon where we're using JSON files, XML, a little more human readable in that language. And then we get the order, right? It processes through our ERP without human intervention. And we'll talk about sometimes you have to have human intervention when there's bad data. But for the most part, most orders should go automatically into your ERP. And then the documents that go back should be also electronically done and automated without human intervention. So when we send back our order acknowledgement, that should go automatically. Then we send back our ASN, our advanced shipping notice that says, hey, we've shipped this order, and an invoice, whatever else the customer needs us to send back, can be sent all back automatically without humans being involved. This is for our customers. We talk about this mostly on the customer side, but it could be for our suppliers, our 3PLs, which is third-party logistic warehouses, if you don't know what that is, and other third-party providers. Even your own warehouse, this maybe in another state, could be automated with EDI instead of phone calls, faxes, emails. I don't think we fax anymore. I'm old. I'm clearly showing my age. Uh, However it is that you communicate to your warehouse, you could be doing that via EDI. And then I keep talking about trading partners, and so I want to make sure that you know who I'm talking about. Those are your customers, your suppliers, your 3PLs. The people that you are going to trade EDI documents with are called trading partners. Just want to make sure I covered that. Here's a basic flow chart. This is very simplistic. There are many other things that can happen in here and many other documents that can move forward. But it starts at your trading partner, goes to a van, into your ERP. Your ERP process stays the same. Whether you're making to order, whether you stock the item, whether you have a third party warehouse ship it, all of that process stays the same. And hopefully the people in the middle don't even know that it's an EDI order. There's nothing different about it. It's as if you had hand entered it. And then automatically when those triggers are complete. So entered the order, we send an order confirmation. We've shipped the order, we send an ASN. We've invoiced the order, we send the invoice. As soon as those landmarks are done, the orders are going back. So that's the most simplistic, basic flowchart of EDI. It can get complicated from there, but this is basically how it's working. Thought I'd talk about the EDI documents in plain language. We often refer to these documents as the core four. In distribution, these are the ones that you're mostly using. Um, In manufacturing, too, just depends what industry you're in manufacturing with. But we've got a purchase order. This is pretty simple. Everyone knows what a purchase order. Please ship me these products on these days at this price. We get that. It zooms into our ERP, and we will send out an order acknowledgement that is an 855 that says, yes, we will ship you these products on these days at this price. Manufacturing takes over, or whatever the process is after that, to get the product out the door. And as soon as it goes out the door, we send the advanced shipping notice, the 856. We have shipped you these products on these days at this price. Oh, and here's the tracking number so you can track it. And then the A10 invoice. Everybody knows what an invoice is, right? That's how we all get paid. Here's the bill for the products that we shipped on this date at this price. Makes perfect sense, right? These are the top four that are happening in most industries most of the time. The next most common are these, which is a forecast, a shipping schedule, and a remittance advice. The 830 is the forecast. We expect that we are going to need these products on these days. Forecasts can be for the next week. They could be for the next month. They could be for the next 6 months. They could be for the next year, the next 3 years. We actually had somebody last week that had a failed forecast and they couldn't figure out why. And we figured out that their forecast was now into January of 2028, and they didn't have a production calendar set up. So the EDI was failing because it didn't know what to do with the data. Just the point of that is it can go out for years, apparently 2 years in that case. Um, the shipping schedule is the 862, and that one is a lot of times used in automotive aerospace more than anywhere else, or the big equipment manufacturers like Caterpillar, John Deere. They're running on just-in-time processes on their thing, and they need to know that you are going to ship 10 of these on this Thursday, 10 of these on next Thursday, 10 of these the next Thursday, all of that. And so they'll just send a shipping schedule. I want to make sure that these go out. And then we have an 810, an 820, which is financial, and a remittance advice. This is an electronic version of the check stub, right? When you get a check in the mail, there's a stub that says these are the invoices that I am paying, and that's what this money works for. So the 820 is the same as the check stub of the payment. There are lots of other documents, and lots of other possibilities. If you're working with grocery stores, there's a whole set of grocery documents that are in the eights also, but they're different documents. If you're working with Lowe's, they've started requiring an 830 or an 870, which is a whole other document that's sent multiple times along the line of the product, along its life. So there's just a whole bunch more. These are just the most common in our manufacturing distribution world, but there are many, many more. So how does EDI replace these? Well, in the paper world, all of the paper become digital documents. So instead of PDFs, we now have this EDI document that is in an EDI language, and it's got to be translated into your ERP, however that happens. Um, and suddenly you have a sales order that no one entered, right? There's just suddenly sales orders being created in your system. Now, some people that's scary. And it's okay to just hold them, to let them come in and on hold in your ERP and have someone review them until you feel like EDI is working and there aren't really any problems and you don't really need to review all of them. A lot of people do that because EDI sounds really scary that suddenly EDI or orders are just showing up in your system and no one looked at them. So there's some safeguards that we can put in place to make sure that you can review them and feel good about the EDI working. So automation imports the inbound documents and the outbound documents are exported out through your ERP as well. Different EDI solutions do it in different ways. It can be flat files, JSON files, an API integration can just pull out the data. Doesn't matter which way it goes. It's still data flowing. And then automation delivers those return documents to the right people. So however they wanted to get it via API, SFTP, AS2 connections, VANs, however they want it, it goes back electronically. Nobody's making a phone call. Nobody's emailing. Portal-based transactions are basically the same. instead of going into a portal and clicking download and downloading your transactions, now it's electronic and no one has to do that step. The EDI is automatically turned into EDI documents that are passing electronically. So it's still going to require a map to translate their requirements into your ERP's requirements. But automation is going to import the inbound files and export the outbound files and deliver them to the right people. And we usually still have the portals, which is not bad, but because we can use them for reporting, for gap analysis, or extenuating circumstances. Like if our power goes out in our plant and we can't send them, now somebody can use their phone to log into the portal and say, hey, we shipped this. I don't know how you would ship if your power is out, but something like that, some natural disaster, whatever. So let's talk a little bit about what EDI is not. It is not a new ERP project. It is not an ERP, right? It works alongside your ERP and enhances your ERP and makes things smoother for your users, but it is not an ERP. It is an add-on to your ERP. It is not usually a giant IT project. If you had hundreds of trading partners, it could be a giant IT project, but generally it shouldn't be. It should just be a, a project that goes alongside all of the other projects that everyone always has going. It shouldn't be the whole world has to stop and deal with the EDI and get it implemented, and then we can run our business again. It should just be an alongside project. And it's not just for large companies. Somewhere in our brains, we think EDI is just for the big guys, but it's not. We have lots of customers who are small, mom and pop, maybe a little bigger than mom and pop, who are doing EDI because their customers really required them to. And so they figured it out. It's not just the big guys doing it. It's sometimes can be the big guys mandating it, right? If you want to do business with Walmart, you're going to do EDI. If you want to do business with Home Depot or Lowe's or John Deere, any of those guys, you're going to have to do EDI in some capacity. And it's not as complicated as it used to be. When I started doing EDI back in the 90s, we had to use telephone lines to send our EDI, right? That horrible fax squeal that you would hear was how we would send it. And it would take hours. We had to have a dedicated phone line for it because it would take hours to pass the data across. And it was a two-way thing. So we would pass data to it was healthcare, to the healthcare providers, and then they would pass it back. But it's not that complicated anymore. Most of our ERPs are built to do EDI in some fashion. And it's pretty mainstream these days. And modern EDI just integrates with your ERP. We didn't have ERPs back in those days. We had green screens. So it didn't integrate very well. We were doing it outside of our main software. So it can do more than you think. This is where it gets a little bit fun. So now we think EDI. If you have any exposure to EDI, you might think that it's literally just the big guys who do it. But in today's world, we can turn PDFs into EDI that then go into your ERP. So you don't even have to have those for the few people who aren't going to be able to do EDI. It's probably not few. The people who aren't going to be doing EDI, they're still going to send you PDFs. Well, you can flip them into EDI. There are tons of providers out there. Almost every van out there can turn a PDF document into EDI. So how you're doing EDI for Caterpillar can be how you're doing EDI for Acme, the little mom and pop store down the road who's sending you PDFs. It can still be EDI. Um, and the beauty of that is those are very fast to implement and they don't usually require the outbound documents. So it's just one side. You just get the orders from them and it flows in really well. The newest PDF converters do it really well. Early versions weren't so great, but they've really done a good job of getting those to work well. Portal automation, right? Instead of going out to our portals and downloading information, those portals are now automated to send EDI. Most companies who have a portal can do EDI. They didn't just build a portal, they also built the back end for the EDI piece. And so we can usually automate that. Your emailed orders, much like the PDF, can actually be scanned and turned into EDI and loaded right into your ERP. Our ERP our ERP integrations are usually hands-off EDI. And by that, I just mean a perfect order that comes in that doesn't have any issues can be perfect and no one has to touch it through its life cycle. There's always going to be exceptions where a trading partner sends something that you were not expecting, a part number that's obsolete, a new shipping location. Amazon is famous for this, right? They open up a new warehouse and they probably sent you an email and said, here's a new warehouse. But nobody read that email or thought to do anything or thought it was important enough to do anything with. They send a new PO for that warehouse. It's going to hang up and say, hey, I don't know where I'm supposed to ship this because you don't have this warehouse in your ERP. Those kinds of things are always going to require humans. But for the most part, perfect orders that have good everything should be processing through, and humans should not be involved. And then there's some customers who like to make their own specific requirements. We have standards, but they don't necessarily follow them, and they have their own specific rules. Um, we can usually handle those without too much extra programming. There was a day when if a customer had specific requirements, we were like, so sorry, we can't help you. We're going to have to not do business, or you're going to have to change your requirements because we can't do that. These days, we can handle most specific requirements. And we've probably seen them, but we being Encompass, I've probably seen them before because there's quite a few out there and we have coded for quite a few things. So if I decided today that I wanted to start EDI, that sounds big and scary, and I want you to understand that it is not big and scary. It's really not hard. It's a simple assessing your customers. Who are the biggest customers that your people are spending the most time hand entering orders for? Those are the ones to start with. Can we get 80% of our hand entering under control with EDI and our people are only entering 20%? That would be awesome. Then our customer service people could actually do customer service instead of doing order entry. Um, Decide your scope. So I've got this 80% of my customers are I'm hand entering. Let's start with the biggest one, and then start adding on after that. Work with a partner or a van. Um, I would encourage you to find a good partner to work with that can lead you in the direction of picking a van. Some don't just pick the cheapest, is really what I'm trying to say. If I want to be blunt, cheapest is not always the best. You want to find someone who is going to hold your hand and help you through this. You want to find someone who you can ask the same dumb question to, you feel like it's dumb, 5 times, and they will answer it 5 times with a smile on their face, right? You don't want someone who doesn't reply to emails and doesn't help you in some quick fashion and isn't kind, right? No one wants to work with someone who doesn't say, I would love to answer that question for the 5th time. I don't mind at all. I'll try to answer it in a different way that maybe you understand. The next step is paperwork. That's always the fun step. And then we set up our projects. We make sure the infrastructure is ready to go and testing starts. It's really not a big deal. What's the reason that we should implement EDI? Well, I hope by now you've figured this out on your own, but I'm going to say it. We can reduce our manual entry. We can free up our customer service people to do customer service. Our orders will be accurate, and that also helps our customers be happy when they get what they wanted at the price they thought they were going to get it on the date they thought they were going to get it. We can ship and fulfill faster. There are no more humans walking orders and pick lists out to warehouses and handing them to humans and saying, you need to ship this. We can meet our customers' requirements, even if they're weird, even if they have some special requirements. We can meet those. And then we can quickly scale. So when you've been doing EDI and now suddenly Walmart is on your radar and you maybe are going to start doing business with Walmart and they say, well, you have to do EDI, you're not terrified and go, oh, shoot, we don't do EDI. What are we going to do? How are we going to handle this? Right. You could say, hey, we'll just add it to our EDI project. It's easy. And so our result is faster everything. So what can you do next? You guys on the call yourselves, schedule a discovery call. I'm the one who's going to answer that. So let's talk. Let's talk about what is going on and how we can find some efficiencies for you. You can work with our team on an overall EDI process review. We'd be happy to sit down and look at what you're doing today, which maybe is nothing, or if you're doing EDI with portals, or if you're doing a little bit of EDI but haven't really ventured into the big stuff. We have on our website an ROI calculator. It's a very high level cost estimate, but it gives you an idea of what you need to have in order to decide how much it's going to cost. That's not a quote, right? That's just an estimate. It's an idea. And then bring us your hardest issues. If you're doing EDI today and it's all manual anyways, let's see how we can bring it into automation into the 20th century, 21st century. Where are we? 21st century,
Mm,
and see how we can solve them. So we would love to talk to you. Ashley, you made something beep there when I hit that.
I did.
All right, this is your slide. You get to talk about
Awesome.
this one.
Thank you, Tanya. That was a lot of great information. Before we go to Q&A, because we already have some questions coming in, so please be sure to type those. Um, we wanted to leave you with something practical. So we know that every manufacturer operation, your operations are a little different. And so some of you are out there working on paper orders or downloading files from customer portals. And some of you, like the survey suggested, are in mixed mode. But the common theme is that someone on the team is still touching the data. And as we talked about, whenever someone has to download, upload, or rekey information, that's where you run into errors, delays, and extra labor starts to creep into the process. So for those of you who attended today, we're offering a complimentary EDI opportunity assessment. And so this is a short working session with our EDI team, mainly Tanya, where we'll take a look at your processes and help you identify where automation can have the biggest impact. So during that conversation, we'll review how you're currently receiving orders, look at where manual work is happening, and give you an estimate of the potential time and cost savings from automating those transactions. And the goal isn't, like Tanya mentioned, to jump into a big project. It's just to give you clarity on whether EDI makes sense for your operations and where the best starting point might be. So we'd like to give you the opportunity to take advantage of that assessment. So we have a QR code on the screen that you can scan and fill out the form and check the box for the EDI opportunity assessment. And we'll also include the link in the follow-up email after the webinar.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then if you could just go to the next slide.
Well, there we go. Questions.
Perfect.
I could see we have one question in our question and answer box. But now would be